Hey guys, this is Jeff, and this is kind of part two of my series on building better bunkers in Blender. And for this one, hopefully you've watched my Better Bunkers for Beginners video where I just talk about how to modify some of the basic bunker dig parameters to get a better looking bunker edge. We're going to build on that now. And what I'm really doing here is almost a remake of a video CE SimGolf did a couple of years ago, which he called GS Pro OPCD Blender Bunker Lip Recipe. I'm going to go through it a little bit slower for those of us not as adept at Blender. And I've also simplified his recipe some so that the approach I take here is just going to work with stock materials and should wind up looking pretty decent. So let's see how we go. All right, so this is my bunker lip that I had from my Better Bunkers for Beginners video, where again, we're going to come in here, turn on our viewport overlay to be wireframe so we can see how we have the lip kind of doing a subtle bend and then the rest of our dig into the bunker. And there's our basic blend. So that's where we left it. And now what we're going to do primarily in this video is use these advanced mesh tools to put a little bit more geometry on the lip and get a little bit tighter kind of a curl to it and see how that goes. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to work with the blend, and we're going to go into our advanced mesh tools and use the topology editor, and we're going to do a very simple operation. The operation is going to be a loop cut. So if you look at the blend, it's basically a single loop, an inside edge, an outside edge. It's just kind of like, I guess you could call it two loops. There's an outer loop and an inner loop, but you just have kind of one set of faces in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut that. So we're just going to go loop cut, inset one, loop cut. So you see now we have two squares in each little section of our blend. And then we're going to actually cut it again. And so now we have three little sections. Now, the reason we're cutting it like that in this case is because this is not like 100% necessary, but it's good to just kind of use it as a learning exercise. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here into our shader, into viewport shading, and we're going to turn on our attribute mode again so that we can see the colors that our meshes have been painted. Blue inside the bunker, green coming up the inset, red on the lip, red on the inside of the blend, and it was black on the outside of the blend, but now I've cut it twice, and you can kind of see it's painted these two cut loops blue. So the next thing we're going to do on the blend is we're going to use the custom vertex painter, and we're just simply going to replace that blue with black. So what have we accomplished? Well, we used to have a 50-50 split on the blend from this material, which was going to match to my rough, and the inside of the bunker material, which was dirt. So now we've just made it a smaller amount of dirt on the blend portion of the bunker. Now we're going to move into the bunker itself. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move some of the existing loops. So to do that, we're going to come back down into the topology editor section, and we're going to do loop slides. So slide loop vertices. We're going to first do the first loop at inset 1. You got to think of the outer loop as 0, and then the next one's 1. So we're going to slide that negative, so outward 0.02. You think of that, that's 2 centimeters, about an inch. So we're going to shift that loop. And you probably saw it jump up. Now we got an even smaller lip, if you will, on our bunker. Now we're going to take the second loop of the inset, loop 2, and we're going to slide that back actually a little bit further. We'll slide that back 0.04, about 2 inches, 4 centimeters. Shift loop. So we're just giving ourselves, we're moving the geometry at this point. Now we're going to go ahead and dig the bunker like using the basic tools like we did before, but we're going to change the lip depth to 0. So what we're doing there is we're going to put the lip, instead of having this little subtle bend to it, it's going to be completely flat. And then we're going to leave the inner depth where we had it at the end of our last video, which was 0.1. The other two control more of the inner depth of the bunker. You can play with those if you want, but let's just go ahead and apply these settings. And you'll see we now flattened that top part of the lip of the bunker. So now we're going to go add some more geometry into the bunker. So we are going to, again, go back to the loop cut tool. And at loop cut 1, we're going to cut. So we added another loop. Then we're going to jump forward to loop cut 2, and we're going to add another loop cut down in there. So now we're going to slide some of our loops even further. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to slide this one down at the bottom in. We're going to slide it in quite a bit. So this one is loop 5. We're going to slide it in 0.2. So again, think about that. That's 20 centimeters, almost 10 inches. And we will shift that entire loop. So that loop now just came in further because we're trying to make a more of a curl of our lip here. The next thing we're going to do is take the loop before that, loop 4, and we're going to slide that just a little bit. So we're going to do a little slide on that to just 0.05, 5 centimeters, just a couple inches. So we've just shifted that loop in a little bit. Now we're going to actually use some regular little Blender commands. And what we're going to have to do is go into edit mode. So in Blender, to go into edit mode, you hit Tab. So now we're in edit mode and we can select and move vertices, edges, faces, whatever we want to do. But we're going to stay pretty simple. What we're going to do is we're going to use the Alt key and the Shift key to select this loop. That selects the entire loop. And then we're going to select this loop. So that's actually loop 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're just going to slide those vertices straight down a little bit. So to do that, we're going to hit the G key to go into grab mode. We're going to hit the Z key so that we're only moving up and down. We're going to hit negative 0.015. And you maybe just saw that that little section of the bunker just dropped a little bit. So then we'll hit enter and tab to get out of edit mode. Now we're back in object mode. And all we're going to do now is just kind of paint some different vertex colors on the loops here. So loop 1 is already 0. We're going to go and paint up here in our Advanced Mesh Tools Custom Vertex Painter. We are going to paint loop inset 1 to be red by doing paint loop vertices. So if you watch, the inside of the lip just turned red. And then we're going to go ahead and paint loop 2 to be red. Paint that loop vertice. And if you remember, red color on the bunker is dirt. The third loop is green, and then we kind of come down here to where we match up with blue. Now, just to make things a little more interesting, what we're going to do is we're going to use the other option we have down here in the slide loop vertices to randomly slide the loops. So we're going to randomly slide these loops 3 and 4. So let's randomly slide loop. Let's do loop 3 first. And we'll do a randomness of a 0.5 and randomly slide the loop. So watch the loop. And now you see you got some shape to it. And we're going to go ahead and do that for loop 4 as well. We're going to randomly slide the loop. Okay, and now we've got that kind of moving around a little bit. This is going to give us a little bit more character to the lip of our bunker. That's it. But now what we're going to do is we're going to take both the bunker mesh and the blend. We're going to take them both and we're going to export them. So we got both selected, come down to export, and we're going to export the selected FBXs. Okay, now we'll take the 2 FBX files that we just exported, and we're going to, in Windows Explorer, drag them into our FBX folder inside our project assets directory. I like to do it this way instead of dragging it directly into Unity, because if you drag it into Unity, it creates copies of the FBXs, the meshes, not replaces them. This way they get replaced and they'll update automatically. So let's take the two of them, drag them into the FBX folder, replace. Now that that's done, when we click on Unity, it'll automatically update. And that's it. And now you can see what we accomplished. So on the blend, we now have just a tiny bit of dirt blending in with the bunker lip, which is dirt, and it's a little bit more dirt. And then you can see our shadowing is now not a dead straight line all the way across the center. It's a little more varied. And there's even a little bit of variation up in the edge of the dirt itself. We could do more, but that's now more of a rolled edge, shadowy look. It's really helped us out with some of that sharp color contrast too, because you can see now how the rolled edge kind of more naturally takes on a darker color as it comes in to the bunker. So adding a little geometry there wasn't that hard to do, and it gives us a tighter kind of curl to the bunker dig. So we'll just go ahead and put our 3DG back on, and that's it. There you go. I'll just mention as I'm closing out this video that what I just did can easily be just written down in a what's called a recipe, and that recipe can just be run using AFROD's tools that you can insert into Blender. There is a pin in the OPCD Cut Mesh Beta channel where Kenny Austin, 1970 K Austin, shows you how to put the AFROD tools into place. And once you do that, you can use the recipes that I'll link in my video here to do this on all your bunkers at the same time, and it'll just take a minute.